This is Perennial Artisan Ale's working title from 2017. It's a Belgian-style pale ale, hopped with crystal and bottle conditioned with Brettanomyces. It's 6.2% in a 750 milliliter bottle. This is 7.5 years old. I think it's gonna be all right. Let's check it out.
Drink it or dump it.
I was in St. Louis and I thought, hey, I know Phil Wymore down here. Phil has been doing incredible stuff with Perennial Artisan Ales for a very long time. And it's been a little while since I was down there, so I grabbed working title from my basement and brought it to the brewery. It was nice to see them expanding and doing a lot of barrel-aged stuff, and it was even more exciting to sit down with Phil and with Jonathan. Well, here we are, another episode of Drink It or Dump It. I'm in St. Louis, and I'm here at Perennial Artisan Ales with Phil and Jonathan. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, fun. Thanks for having us.
You started Perennial in 2011?
Correct.
What was the impetus in you coming to St. Louis to start a brewery? Because at the time you were at Half Acre, right? Before that, Goose Island.
Correct.
So how did this all happen?
Well, I knew I wanted to start my own brewery, and my wife at the time, Emily, her family was from St. Louis, and we had just started our little family and had a little one, and my family's closer to Kansas City, so it just seemed like a move to get closer to our families with our developing family, and then also a sort of an untapped craft beer market as well. Schlafly was pretty much the only game in town back then.
Was the plan the whole time to have this large of a space?
No, and it was much smaller. I mean, we've been able, we picked a place that had expandable possibilities, but we had much less square footage when we started out, and thankfully had the option to grow into it. But we're still pretty small.
When did you connect with these guys?
So I met Phil while I was still living in New York. I was a home brewer and originally from Missouri, and every time I was coming back, I was like filling my suitcase with bottles of like Saison d'Elie and things like that. I knew I wanted to make the jump into professional brewing, and at that point, Perennial was the only game in town that was doing Belgian-style beer and mixed fermentation stuff year-round, and that was really my jam.
Okay, what was the one beer that you had in your life when you were like, maybe you were drinking or Genuine Draft or whatever the case may be back in the day? What was the first beer that turned you on and made you go, oh, this is different. This is very different. I want more of this.
I think the first craft beer I had was Anchor Steam, and I thought it was bitter because I hadn't had a beer, like a craft beer really, that had anything bitter. But I'd say the Belgian beers, Belgian ales in particular, were the ones that got me really excited.
Yeah.
And I've kind of gone through a little bit of a resurgence lately where I've been going around and scooping up Belgian ales and putting them in my cellar and cracking one open every now and again on a really cold night because they're just so rich and fruity. And
do you have a favorite?
I mean, right now I'm kind of working through like Chimay and like Good and Careless and some stuff like that. I'm not going to say I have a favorite yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's good. I mean, the fact that you're still exploring. Jonathan, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me in college, it was it was Fat Tire and Boulevard Unfiltered Wheat that kind of like opened the door and led to things like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and Sam Smith's Oatmeal Stout on on the dead lot, and then whenever I started like homebrewing, like the first beers that like really blew my stack were Dogfish had 60 Minute, and then far and above anything before that was Fantôme Saison. Just getting that original Fantôme Saison, and I was taking it to a homebrew meeting, we were talking about Saisons, and it's just like this strawberry ester that came out, and it was just like, what is that?
So here we are. This is a 2017 working title. What do you think this is going to taste like? Because I'm going to open it as you're talking.
Well, I think, this beer has a line of inspiration. I would say it's kind of in you know, the line of Orval and Goose Island's Matilda, and
Love Matilda.
beers like that. And I'm optimistic that you're still going to get some of that nice barnyardy Brett character. And
Now, you mentioned Orval and Matilda in the same sentence. Am I wrong to say that Orval inspired Matilda?
no, that's
Right.
yeah, that's why it's kind of like I see this beer as sort of like a descendant.
Okay. This was bottled July 21st of 2017.
That's right.
You remember that day?
Yeah. I was bottling this beer that day.
What was the bottling line like back then?
Well, so it was a bit of a learning curve because this is one of the first beers at Perennial that we were actually bottle conditioning. So, it was really just about getting the fill level right because we weren't, trying to cap on foam or anything like that because all that re-fermentation was going to happen in package. And Phil's absolutely right. Like this beer was intended to be an homage to Orval, and with that, we used some beautiful crystal hops from Hophead Farms out of Michigan. Just love the character of Crystal from up there.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, yeah.
Does it look the same? Is it darker?
This is a little stirred up.
This was jostled too much? So, knowing I was coming, you brought the same bottle?
I didn't know that it was going to be the exact same batch. I knew it was from the same year.
Oh, it's the same batch.
But yeah, it's the exact
Yeah,
same
so
batch.
this is a great
Crazy.
comp here.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
He's gonna
See how, whoa.
gentle pour, keep it tipped.
Mm-hmm. Did you keep yours in a sauna like I did mine?
I did. This was tucked away in my basement.
Yeah, look at that.
What a difference. What a difference that makes where it was kept. I did not keep mine in a sauna.
Like one of the things that I love about Orval is that there's kind of like two different things ebbing and flowing. Like whenever you get it fresh, and really you can only get it that fresh in Belgium. Like you're getting that really bright dry hop note, and then there's a very young Brett character. But then as it ages, the dry hop character softens, and then you're getting a more layered presence from the wild yeast in there.
Do you like what you're tasting here?
And I think even the murkier version of it is still a drink it to me, but you get the malt character way more on the finish when you have that gentle pour like this.
Already rating this a thumbs up. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so.
I look forward to drinking the rest of these.
I know. This is damn good, actually.
Are you surprised?
I mean, yes and no.
Before working title, how many beers with Brett had you brewed? Personally.
Well, I mean, my first professional beer I brewed here was a Brett Saison called a Brett's beer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and so
That had a cool label too.
I had done a lot of brewing with Brett on the homebrew scale. Like that was really what I was into. I'm still into it, but basically any chance that I had to brew something with the kind of ices I was doing. Like, I remember early on, we had like every Thursday night we'd do a different beer here at the tap room, and sometimes it was rolling out a new production batch, and sometimes it was just like a 5-gallon flight of fancy. And one night we filled all the taps with different Brett beers. So yeah, which was reckless.
What beer became the thing that you hang on your shoulders when you talk about your days of brewing?
I mean, I think it's working title, and I think it's Pils.
Okay.
Pils was the first year-round lager that Perennial was doing. Like before, he'd done brew for the crew. The Munich style lager was delicious for a local restaurant here. But then, we were all itching for something, light and crispy, as they say, and it was something that initially it scared me to try to take something like that on, because it really tests your chops as a brewer, and it was a really good challenge for me to try to get something like that right, because there's so few things there to hide behind if you mess it up.
I remember when Saison de Lis was first released, how excited I was for you and for Perennial, because I was just so proud to have that on our shelves, because it was, I'm sure it still is. You're still making it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's such an incredible beer. And I was just so excited to see Perennial on a label on the shelf. And then Abraxas and all the crazy cuckoo-ness that happened around Abraxas the first time it was out.
Yep.
I thought I had a bottle in my cellar of it, and I might somewhere, because I feel like I do, and I hand wrote something on it. So I might be back with that.
Yeah, we can do another one.
At some point. And now you're getting into spirits, right?
Yeah.
I want to know about Common Ritual and how similar is it? Because you're not distilling it here, right? You're just getting the product and blending it and finishing it.
Correct. Whiskey was something that was always fascinating for me. It's something that I really enjoy consuming. And then partnered up with Russ, who's also someone who helps start Perennial with me and Emily. And then also my friend Steve, who's got an amazing palate, an insane whiskey collection. And he was always sort of bringing these different independent bottled spirits to me, and let me try them. A lot of them from Scotland. And he was like, "Why don't we do something like this where we're an independent bottler. We're not grabbing stuff from MGP and putting our own label on it or our own finish on it and putting it on the shelf. No offense to other people who do that. I buy a lot of that stuff and it's delicious. But to really create something new, we're making these relationships with other craft distilleries that are making excellent stuff all over the U.S. right now and hopefully beyond. And in some instances, blending expressions from different distilleries to create new expressions.
Where are you doing that?
We're doing that at a place called Nobleton's Distilling House, which is in Union, Missouri. It's about an hour west of here. And we store our barrels there and we do our blending there. And we are working on getting a distilling license here, not so that we can distill, but so that we can blend and bottle in that same fashion, but a little closer to home base here.
Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find the creative process in doing that similar to making beer?
Yes, in some sense, because I don't brew a lot anymore, but
Right.
I do pull a lot of barrel samples and blend those samples and try to create blends for our stout program. And there's a lot of similarity there, and just trying to find what works together and create something fun and new.
So what would you tell people who have a 8-year-old beer with Brett in their cellar? Open it up, let it sit a little while longer.
I think it's drinking great now. It really just depends on how well you're taking care of things. It used to be that I was keeping beer in my kitchen and stuff like that, and that would age much more quickly than this did.
That's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is one of those beers that doesn't really feel like it's been sitting.
No. If I had tasted this blind, I would have thought that it was a subsequent batch, because made working title a few times even after I left, and I think it tastes younger than it actually is.
Was this the first batch?
This is the first batch. This is the one that took bronze at GABF.
Oh wow!
2017.
It's still vibrant though.
Yeah, no, and what I can't get over is how much the hop is still coming through.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about brewing with Brett is that, like antioxidant quality that like helps hop character hold on for longer. And really one of the driving things that it inspired it, in addition to Orval, was we had done taken part in a collaboration event at Hop Leaf in Chicago with Hophead Farms, and they brought in a bunch of Michigan hops. And I'd never had Michigan hops before, and like the terroir, the hops grown in Michigan, is so different from the stuff you were getting from the Pacific Northwest. It was just like more like straightforward fruit as opposed to something like perfumey, and that was just like that's the missing piece for this particular beer. Like this is what this needs to be an Orval inspired beer, as opposed to using something more traditional like a Styrian Golden, like they would actually use in Orval.
Well, hey, cheers.
Yeah.
For a drink it that's 7.5 years old.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Thank you, Perennial. Thank you, Working Title. Drink your beers. Thank you. It's a perfect temperature too.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
I gotta keep rolling around with beer in my trunk.
It certainly helps if you hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe and comment below. Thanks for watching.